because I really hope you did. Okay. This divestment bill, it hurts my feelings. That Caterpillar bulldozer ended life in the body of an American citizen, drove her bones into the ground while a company cashed in on the sale. The claws of D9 bulldozers unearthed the livelihood of occupied Palestinians, uprooting their graveyards to make way for illegal settlements. But we need a positive campus climate. While HP stock rises on division, producing technology to segregate Palestinians, biometric IDs at checkpoints, enhancing the naval blockade of an open-air prison, Palestinians on campus listen to words like positive, climate, hurt feelings, knowing their tuition invests in companies raining terror on loved ones. That's suffering. Like their voices is non-existent to student board members looking for cushy jobs at top 5 law firms. But this divestment bill, it's divisive. The Montgomery bus boycott, divisive. The Great Boycott, one-sided. Abolishing slavery, radical. Nelson Mandela, a terrorist. Indigenous, savages, women's suffrage, complicated. Desegregation, provocative. Hiroshima security, internment camps of necessity, Bantustan's autonomy, Iraq liberation, Palestine barren. There is always going to be an excuse. Catchphrases, talking points, strip away names and faces. We are being militant, unreasonable. There's context to this oppression. The word apartheid, it makes you feel uncomfortable. It's apartheid, by definition. Fits the 73 Convention. By law, it is a crime against humanity. 2 sets of laws for 2 people. Labor, land ownership, access to education. 50 laws of discrimination. 66 years of colonization. 27,000 homes demolished. Nearly 1 million arrested since 67. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No one said Israel doesn't have problems. But why the singling out on college campuses? Do you mean like Darfur? Tibet? South Africa? Sweatshops? Coca-Cola? Animal testing? The Keystone Pipeline? The prison industrial complex? Fossil fuels? Teacher unions? University cuts? And bottled water? The real question, why are you singling out any injustice for protection? Let me get the next one for you. Israel is democratic. Democratic like coal is clean, Miller Lite is the same great taste, less filling, and McDonald's salads are healthy. These are not imagined scenarios. Our tuition dollars are profiting off of debt. Divestment is the next step. This is not about a nation or a people, but what's being done to people. And our names, with our currency, this university or institution won't liberate anyone, but it can choose to cease making a buck off of misery. Vote yes for divestment. No to appeasement. Affirming injustice isn't positive for any climate. Israelis and Palestinians in a non-anti-apartheid format without making any distinction between occupier and occupied, oppressor and oppressed, those implementing a system of apartheid, and those forced to live under it. I don't care what your religion is, what your ethnicity is, where you were born. If you can get down for justice, I can get down for that. But there was the Oslo peace process during the 1990s, and after that you saw a lot of these organizations and initiatives develop that were funded by the Israeli government, that were funded by right-wing institutions in the United States, by campus administrators. So essentially a lot of folks that joined the board of these organizations or invested in these organizations that on any other day of the week would be like, Palestinians are barbarians, or Palestinians don't exist, and yet they're dumping money into these projects. Well, it was done with the express purpose to undermine the work of Students for Justice in Palestine, to push off allied groups that were standing with Palestinians, and to counter the work of BDS. So this is called normalization, to give you an idea of like how some of the normalization projects function. So you have an organization like Seeds of Peace, right? And so you'll have like Palestinian kids come from the West Bank to Jerusalem, East Jerusalem, or West Jerusalem, depending. And then you'll have kids come from Tel Aviv. And it's like, look, like Israelis and Palestinians are hanging out together. And it's like, you like hummus, I like hummus. Look, an apartheid wall just fell. It doesn't actually work like that. Hey, how are you? And so, you know, The issue isn't about an individual seeing another person as an individual. It's about structural violence, structural racism, and structural policies that are oppressing people. So a lot of these kids would be like, look, we go to this like summer camp for 2 weeks. Those kids would go back to Tel Aviv. We'd go back to the West Bank, and they'd be the ones bombing our village. They'd be the ones occupying our cities. They'd be the ones helping the settlers as our children and cousins were attacked on the way to school. So this is called Normalize This, and it challenges that kind of ideology in those types of projects. Okay, now I'm going to have to work the room now, because you're in my peripheral, and I'm going to feel shitty, because this one poem. So if I fuck up this poem, it's like you're going to think the whole thing sucked. It's a lot of pressure. We're going to see how it goes now. Okay, good.
Let's see what you got.
You got me post-sinus attack. I almost died. I'm good now. I'm recovering. Nothing is normal about occupation. Nothing normal about apartheid, ethnic cleansing, siege, blockade, settler-only roads, bombing water wells, schools, mosques, and UN buildings. Nothing normal about putting a civilian population on a diet, paying non-indigenous colonizers to settle land that is already populated, rewriting the Nakba with each stolen childhood, trying to desensitize the bullet holes and claw marks put into the bodies of Bassem Abu Rahmeh and Rachel Corrie. No, I don't want to normalize with you. I don't want to hug, have coffee, talk it out, break bread, sit around the campfire, eat s'mores, and gush about how we're all the same. I don't want to share the stage, co-write a poem, submit to your anthology, talk about how art, instead of justice, can forge a better path. I don't want to indulge your amnesia about a glorious past. Have a therapy session on two sides with equal grievances. The only thing barren is your moral capacity. Blooming a settler colonial state with appropriated culture, I will not fight for your privilege, nor will I seek to normalize it. Your dialogue group, it's a breeding ground for injustice. Just look at the board members and the ZOA sponsorship. Zionism is the real demographic threat, infecting the minds of millions with racism. They were hooded in the South, pushing darker nations into Bantustans, jailing young men in H blocks in Northern Ireland. In case you missed the hint, I don't want to pretend all is okay, or that bombs dropped on Gaza don't have a manufacturer, the pilot doesn't have a nationality, or somehow Shimon Peres is any different than Avigdor Lieberman. It's not just the occupation. Stupid. It's a right of return, equality for all Palestinians. It's a transformation from a racist, exclusivist, supremacist state to a nation for all of its citizens. You deserve nothing, nothing more than equality, which means more than African refugees are provided in South Tel Aviv. You are the shining light on a settlement hill, reminding the world that racism often comes in nice packaging. Guess what? We don't give the Sudan $3.4 billion a year in military aid. Don't have preferential trade agreements with North Korea. Don't call Iran a democracy. Israel, you're a proxy for empire. A 1950s ethnocracy trapped in 21st century clothing. Yes, you are singled out with aid, weapons, and UN vetoes in your favor. Did I hurt your feelings? No, a little bit. Poem 1. Should we hug after the show? Do these words hurt more than, I don't know, bombs dropped on Gaza? White phosphorus eating the flesh of children? I am not the bad guy. You're defending the bad system. Your words and actions have consequences. You're either with oppression or you're against it. I didn't write history, and sure as hell didn't choose for you to stand on the wrong side of it. Your system of oppression, it's coming to an end. And whether you recognize it or not yet, it'll be liberating for you too.